YouTube channel. They said we are in the age of social media, and if you're not in the social media space, you're missing out. You only need your phone, lights, and tripod, and you're good to go. Start from where you are. These are some of the words that will be told to someone who is starting on YouTube or who is in the journey of content creation. But no one talks about the other side. No one talks about the challenging. But well, the good outweigh the bad. You are in the right place. But today, I just wanted to share about my experience. Talk about how it was like when I was new. Talk about what was motivating me at that time. And hopefully, you get inspired and get to learn from it. This space, we measure success by views. We measure success by the number of subscribers that you want to have. We measure success by the community that you have built, if they are able to engage with you, and hopefully you will get a sponsorship, you will start getting those deals, and hopefully you make a living out of it. I'm not yet there, but does that not make me to be at a place where I can speak about it? No. This is my journey, and today I want to share the challenges that I encountered while still at it. I joined YouTube back in 2019. By this time, I had done research for over 2 years. I used to watch other content creators and I was like, this is something that I can do. I don't think I'm afraid of the camera. But then I was afraid of being seen. I was afraid of being in this space where everybody can find you. But then back in 2019, there's something that happened to me, and to me it was something that brought an awakening. And for me, if I had gone through that ordeal, there was nothing at that time that was hard for me. So entering this space for me was not going to be something that I would think of as scary. So I decided to hop onto it and to come on here and do content and start with this creation journey. So I remember my first video, you can go check it out. I think it was about keeping hope alive, something about hope. And I think at that time, that was the most thing that I resonated with at that time. The intention, of course, was to come teach people on soft skills. Again, I wanted to just empower the youth. So by that time, I was going to schools and giving motivational talks, and social media was a good avenue for me to use to create inspirational videos or just share from my experience. And that is why it's called Maisha Chapters. So I went on with it. But then once I was on this space, I remember the first thing that happened was we joined a group of small YouTubers at that time. I don't know why we were calling ourselves small, because when I look at other people who are in that platform today, they have made it, they're doing well on YouTube, and I'm happy for them. But then when we joined this group, there was an aspect that was introduced to us. We were subscribing each other's channels, and then we will get the subscription back. We will watch each other's videos in return, and it was like, I'm showing you kindness, you might as well just show me kindness. At that time, we were chasing the views, we were chasing the watch hours, and we just needed to get out of the scope of when your family, your friends have subscribed, and then what? When the YouTube algorithm is not pushing your content out there. So that was something at that time that we used to do, and it helped channels grow. But then some of this content or some of these YouTubers that I was subscribing for, I noticed I was not in touch with their content. I noticed I was just watching to support them. And I began asking questions such as, what happens after this? Will I keep watching your content? What will happen? It is at that time that I had this realization that I don't want people to come to my channel for the sake of it. I want people to subscribe because they really want to be here, they really want to be part of this community, and that way it will be organic. It will not be based on other things that we were chasing when it comes to the views. While we were still at it, I think in 2020 the pandemic hit, and there were all sorts of content going around. And I remember there was this content of room tours and bedsitter room tours, and there was also the Don't Rush challenge. But then I saw that this kind of content was giving people views. At that time, I don't know, for some reason, that type of content was being recommended out there, and people who were doing it were actually reaping from it. People were getting views, people would subscribe, and you would see the numbers skyrocket. But then I remember thinking to myself, and at that time I was living in a bedsitter that was not worth showing. But then it was not bad. Ilikuwa mahali. There was something. It was good. But then I remember, do I want to share my space with everyone? If this one video is the one that will make me go viral and explode, do I want to actually do it? And it was not sitting well with me. So I said I'll not do it. There was also the Don't Rush challenge. I am not a person who wants to just do makeup and showcase how fly I am, And then that passed. But again, that was another challenge that I could have hoped on, and it would have brought me the views. But then again, I declined. So there was that issue of choosing to go with the wave or staying authentic to your true self. But then we persisted. The other challenge that I faced was the issue of limited resources. At that time, I had a camera, I had bought one, but then I didn't have a laptop. And the laptop I was using could not hold the amount of data I was shooting with my camera. So I was using a friend's laptop. Shout out to you, Steve. But then even looking at what was preventing me from buying this equipment is I was just chasing everything to be perfect. I wanted good laptops of very high quality. I didn't want to begin with what I have. So the issue of starting with what you have is true, but then there's a certain standard of quality that is needed in this space that whatever you have at that time, you will not have it. And I get it. The idea that is sold is that you can start with whatever you have at that particular time, but then sometimes this can be a limitation. The other thing that I faced was the issue of finding the right audio or music to act as a background for my videos. And I remember doing research, and there were these platforms that offer this YouTube library also as well, but then I didn't know how to use them. I was afraid of getting a copyright strike, and I was very cautious. Looking back, I was very cautious, but then you don't want to have something on your video, but then it's good content, but you have to pull it down because of copyright issues. So there was that. As I went on this space, of course, it's not all rosy, and your first video, or as you go on, your video gets a dislike, and you're like, what? You guys didn't like my content? And the way I spent a lot of energy creating it. But then this was not the case. But then when you start getting comments, messages, and I've never gotten a negative comment on my video, not that you start now, maybe I'm not yet there, maybe when I attract the numbers I'll start getting those. We sometimes use this space to just troll people, but it's even with the people around me, where you get comments that come off as constructive criticism, but in actual fact they weigh you down. So again, choosing to proceed with what you have or keep going while you're getting this feedback that you're not able to actualize at that time, and sometimes you don't know what's genuine, what's within your control, what's something that you can do, and what's something that you can't do. when you're going on with YouTube, one thing is encouraged: consistency. But then consistency is not something that you can choose to do and do it, you know. You can, and you can exercise some sort of discipline, and you can plan well, and you can do it ahead. But for me, was defining what consistency means for me, because as life moved on, other things came on. There's life, there's work, and you really have to prioritize and know why you're in this space for you to keep going. But then there's another issue that comes in: the views. So when you're being consistent, but then you're not getting the views, sometimes we're human, and it can be discouraging. And you want to keep on, you want to keep going, but then you don't see the results. Trust me, if today you enrolled your child in a particular school and they didn't perform, you will start questioning: is it your child? Is it the school? Do you need to take the child for tuition? What more can I do to help this child? And in as much as you can take efforts to do that, but then there is no significant improvement, you will start questioning yourself. Sometimes we want results, we want the views, but then remembering why you started, remembering why you're here, will keep you grounded, will keep you going even when things are hard, when things are difficult. It won't matter. But those are some of the challenges that I faced, and you can also face in this content creation journey. The other challenge that I experienced while still going on is finding a niche. So when I started out, of course, there was the inspirational videos and teachings and all that. But then as I went on, I started showcasing Maisha chapters on the road, and we were traveling and we were making videos, and it was a nice experience. Why? I love traveling. But then there's this advice that is put out there: you need to be consistent and you need to find a niche and stick to it. Well, I understand this is important for personal branding. Sometimes for a creative person it doesn't work. One day you wake up, you have ideas and you want to share them with the world. But then it's like you're being confined into a particular box, and if you don't do this, then we will leave you, or you will not get to where you are. So finding a niche, but then with time, you just do what matters to you, in as much as you're doing it for the audience. But sometimes YouTube is for me to store and keep memories of my life. So I'll keep doing it anyway. The other thing is also on the creative blocks. So sometimes you have ideas, it's all written down on paper, there are these things that you want to talk about, but then by the time you want to shoot them, you don't have the energy, and you just can't bring yourself to shoot that type of content. And someone may argue that this is a case of not being disciplined enough, and you should dictate your body and what you want it to do, and it will do it for you. But then sometimes you're not just at a good place or in a good place to shoot the content, and it doesn't make sense to keep churning out content out there. You're encouraging people, you want to inspire people, but deep down you're not okay. For me, to me that seems like maybe hypocrisy. But sometimes there's content, but I just can't get myself to shoot it. We'll talk about what are some of the things that I could do or I will do going forward to ensure that I don't get here. But I just wanted to mention again from my experience, these are some of the challenges that I faced. The other thing was the issue of consent. Sometimes I would want to do travel videos and capture people. So for me, I have an issue of capturing people's faces, people who are going on with their lives. They don't know if they are being filmed, but then I'm just there shoving my camera on their faces because I want to document and show my life. I think it's unfair, because honestly I don't want to appear on someone else's video without being asked to. And there's a video, we went to Garissa and we were showcasing everything, a very detailed video. But then I just had someone tell me they don't want to, after shooting the content, the person said they don't want it to be posted out there. And I was stuck. I was like, I want to respect this person's privacy, but then you knew while you were shooting, you accepted to be in the shot, but then you don't want it out there. What was the purpose? The person explained to me and I was able to understand, and up to now I've never posted that video. But again, these are some of the challenges that we face out there while trying to create or shoot content. So what am I now going to do differently? So first of all, I will want to just have people who want to be here. So chasing organic views and trying as much as possible to create content consistently, but then in a way that is also good for me, in a way that I will not be struggling, but then at the same time I am still creating content for my audience. Again, I'll not listen to critics, I'll not listen to naysayers. If it's from a place of encouragement or improvement, I'll take the tips. But then if it's not something that I resonate with, I think I'll just have to, it's not for me, right? So if it's not for me, then I'll not take it. Again, is I'll trust the process. So like I said, I'm not where I want to be right now, but then a time is coming. As we grow, we evolve, we shoot different kind of contexts, but then just trusting. Maybe one day the algorithm will work for me, but then in the meantime, I'll do what I have to do, and then I'll leave the rest to God. The other thing that I'm going to do is to schedule content ahead. You heard me say that I was experiencing sometimes creative blocks, or sometimes I'm not just in a good state to shoot that kind of content. So the strategy for that is to ensure that I plan ahead. I have content for days, so that when I am in this phase, there will still be content coming your way. The other thing is just doing things as they come and not waiting for things to be perfect, situations to be perfect. With what I have, to just keep going until we get to a place where we are thriving. The other thing is to remember what matters most to me. Why am I on this platform? So having that in mind will keep me pushing, will keep me going, and I'll be able to just provide quality, best-in-class content. The other thing I'm going to do is to just be free to do anything and everything. This is my platform. Some of you may come here because of travel content, and I want to be doing documentaries soon, so you'll see that. Some of you will come here because of the inspiration. I want to share that part of me with you. So Eliud Kipchoge said, no human is limited. So why should I use this to limit myself? So there's that. And then I just staying authentic. Waves, trends come and go. But then what feels honest to me? What feels authentic to me? So the idea is to chase that and to remain that. Because all said and done, we are who we are, and when we're not our true self, like I always say, it will always be seen. So don't want to be seen out there like I'm trying too much, but rather I'm well within my comfort zone. I may be willing to try out a few things, but then not everything will make the cut. The other thing is, when it comes to consent, I will just ask. Before I shoot a video with anyone, I will ask, do you agree this video will go on YouTube and it's a public space? Do you agree that you actually want to be on this platform? And also what I can do is, I don't want to reach to a place where I have to ask people to consent and write documents that they did agree. But sometimes I feel like some of these things can have legal implications, so we'll see about that. But then the thing is to ask. So those are some of the challenges that I faced, some mistakes that I did when I was new on YouTube. I have spent quite a time here, and even if maybe you have not been posting a lot of videos, I have still been in this space, just looking out for trends, watching other YouTubers, seeing them grow, and I have learned in the process. So I hope you learn from me so that you avoid making these mistakes, or rather your journey, your content creation journey becomes smooth. That's all. Subscribe, share this video so that others may learn, and until next time, this is Maisha Chapter.